Hello everyone, my name of course is Resonant and welcome back to another video. Now this video is actually a very special video. A lot like the one I did a couple of days ago, some more things have been brought out about Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, and this just makes me so happy since we've gone a long time without any news whatsoever really. Now go back to my video from the past couple of days if you haven't seen it already, and that is me talking about some new information we saw for the PC Gamer article. And once again, PC Gamer have brought out some new screenshots from Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, so I'm going to show you guys them now if you haven't seen them already, and I'm going to kind of tell you what I can see, try and explain. Maybe we can see some things in there that we haven't actually seen before, and that'll be very interesting to see. So I'll be putting them up on the screen as I am talking about them. Now this screenshot does actually show from an archer's point of view. It does also have these axemen and some cavalry in the background, but from the most part this is looking at the archery class. Now from this we can see some very detailed work in the texturing and the modelling of these units in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. We have him drawing back his bow. This looks to be some sort of longbow maybe, and of course we have the arrows. And what kind of really takes it for me is just looking at his face, the amount of detail they've put in working to his face. He's even got one eye shut as he is looking down the sights of his bow. You can see the guy in the background. He doesn't, which means obviously that they change their facial expressions throughout depending on their circumstances. This also gives us a pretty decent view of some of the scenery that we can expect in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, where we'll have some trees, some rocky areas and some grassy flatlands, so that is a good variety there. Once again, it looks like the archers will have a limited set of arrows, which is nice. It means that they won't just be able to fire constantly, as they do have a number in their quiver, but obviously not too many, and they have their swords on their belts. But what really interests me is the stuff they're wearing. This looks like a lower tier class of archer, and some of the foot soldiers and cavalry look sort of lower tier class as well. They don't have amazing armor that we can see actually at the moment, so maybe this is somewhat lower down on the tech tree at the moment. Now on the next screenshot that is being showed, I really like this one. This is probably one of my favourite screenshots actually, just because it really shows the amount of effort and detail they have put into the scenery in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. It also shows some good amount of effort on all the arms and stuff. It's so detailed and I love it so much. This looks like some sort of, if it was Warband, it would be some sort of Saranid town. It looks very Middle Eastern or deserty. We have the sand houses built by hardened sand. We also have some greenery and we have a stream going through as well, which is very nice. And the amount of detail seeing that how the grass and the greenery is all congregating around the stream as it would be in the real world is very nice to see. And the backgrounds, we have mountains in the backgrounds. Will we be able to get to them? Will the maps be that big? We're not sure quite just yet how big they're planning on making these maps, but from what we can see so far, it's going to look very nice. Now we have a well around the center of the screenshot, and of course we have different things like carts, and we have some farms down there, and all this agricultural stuff that shows that this is going to be a buzzing city or village that you'll be able to visit and go in, and we'll see a lot more of that later, but a bit more so showing the more city life. Now going on to the armor, you can see the amount of detail that they have put in, all the different colours. Now this seems like it's going to be a very Middle Eastern sort of Saranid type armor and things like that we'll be able to see in the game, with that nice helmet, that blue tunic, and of course this looks, I'm just going to go at a whim, this looks like it's going to be a female character in the game. And of course just the detail on the horse's hair is very nice as well. All the small things that we can pick out is very nice to see. Now, I'm not just going to be extremely biased with this video. I've noticed that the where the bow is in its sort of sack down there, it is a bit merged into the player's leg, which obviously is a bit of a texture glitch, but you know, that kind of stuff can be fixed and isn't massively important, especially doesn't affect gameplay. Next screenshot is one that I think I may have seen, or at least actually I think I've not seen this exact screenshot, but we've seen a variety of this one before. This is from a battle that I think they've shown before, but it looks absolutely epic. A massive cavalry charge going into some infantry. These look like spear infantry, and they do look pretty heavily armoured actually, with some, looks like some sort of steel shields and some long spears there. So I don't know if they're going to have a massive issue with taking out the cavalry, but you can just see the pure and massive scale that they're aiming to get in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. The massive cavalry charges, there looks to be, I don't know, 200-300 cavalry there, and about the same as infantry as well. So we're going to have these massive battles, and the animations and just the pure modelling that we can see from the troops here. On the left, you might be able to see there is actually a horseman there who's getting ready to stab down at the enemies. The other horsemen getting their spears ready to go in, slicing at the enemies on foot. And of course, the men on foot are getting ready to receive this cavalry enemy. Next screenshot is mid-battle. It is showing from the perspective of a cavalryman on his horse. Once again, the horses look very nice, all the animations that we have actually seen the gameplay videos. Now, this armor is very similar to what we have seen in some of the gameplay videos, and I really like the detail on it. It looks a bit scruffy, it looks like it's been torn, it's been battle-worn at points, but we see the blood on his arm, the blood on his sword, and as we saw in some of the gameplay videos, this is actually a dynamic. As you go through the battle, the more enemies you kill, the more blood you're going to get on you. You can see a horse without a rider there, and I think that must be the rider on the floor over there, as he has actually been taken out by one of the enemies. Next screenshot is back at the perspective of an archer. Now, this looks like to be an almost identical to the unit that we actually saw before, wearing the same sort of cloth armor and the same sort of woolen or cloth coat. I think he's in a bit of a pickle here. He's got some armored, very well armored troops charging towards him. It looks like some sort of cataphract in the background with very heavily armored horses. He's probably going to want to get out of here. But it just shows the diversity between the troops you can get. You can get these heavily armored infantry and cavalry fighting up against these less armored but maybe more skilled troops that we can see here. Now, this screenshot is a bit of an epic one. The reason I laughed when I first saw it is if you just look on the left, that guy's face, you can tell that is the face of a man who is about to go into battle with his fellow cavalrymen. Now, just the detail on the horses, I know I keep saying it, but the amount of effort that they've put into texturing this is really, really nice. Once again, you can actually see there's some of the scabbards going through the leg. Hopefully they can be fixed, but even these small textural glitches aren't massive, and they're in every game, really. From what it looks like, this also shows an example of how the AI is actually taking advantage. I'm presuming, this is just me presuming, that the people in the background on top of the hill are actually the AI, but if they are, it shows that they have actually taken the initiative. They've got to the highest point of the hill, and they probably will be charging down with that cavalry, which would be a bit of a sight to see, to say the least. And of course, we have the emblems on the shields. You can even see down to the smallest detail of like the metal studs in the shields holding the leather on and all of that good stuff. In the next screenshot, it looks like we've got a sort of smaller scale thing. This is more showing the amount of detail that they have actually put on these troops and the scenery in general. It doesn't have this massive scale battle that it's showing, but it looks like it's going to be a very similar map to that one we saw of that big cavalry versus infantry charge before. So we have the trees, we have that river in the background, and of course, if you even just look on the floor, of course you've got the grass, but it looks wet, it looks muddy, it looks a bit like a bog here. So we have the different styles in terrains, but we also have the minute details in this. So we have like bogs, you have like grassy flatlands, you have very dry desert or desert grass and things like that. If I'm going to be completely honest, Mount & Blade Warband didn't deal with water in the best way possible. It was more of, you just go straight in, you go under the water, and then you'll drown. There was no sort of swimming, there's no realistic physics to it. So it'll be really nice to see what they can do with Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord actually, and getting some nice water physics in there with the game. Now, the next screenshot is a massive horse arch charge. These are some sort of Kyrgyz Khanate troops, and actually the diversity of these factions are very nice, and the kicking up the dust from the horses is very awesome to see. Having massive charges from these cavalry forces will just kick up a ton of dust, and it's going to be a very dangerous and fearful sight for actually the enemy if you have all that dust being kicked up as the cavalry charges are coming in. Once again, this is on a Dune map with these sort of Hunnish Kyrgyz type troops. Now, the next screenshot is a very close-up shot of incoming arrows. That guy's face, he doesn't look like he's being attacked by arrows, if I'm going to be completely honest. He looks pretty chilled for his situation, but once again, it does show some horse archers here. So it shows people under fire from archers up above. It looks like they have been going down this canyon and they've been attacked from the sides with these archers, and these projectiles are coming in and they're trying to get out of there because they are going to get slaughtered if they don't. Next screenshot is another sort of canyon-like map. It shows some of the troops that we actually saw in the gameplay trailer, these same type of factions, an archer there, and of course we have that sort of cataphract horse archer, very heavy armoured, with that pink shield. I really like the colour of that, coming in with his bow. Now, some of these archers have swords, but as you can see, some of them actually have spiked clubs as well, which is very nice to see. Like I said earlier, there are more screenshots of the towns and cities, and this next screenshot definitely shows that. It shows a very bustling, more hardened sand houses, a very Middle Eastern town, but it shows the amount of detail that they've put in to making these towns, making the life of the AI actually seem very realistic. You've got a market here, you've got watermelons being sold on the left, you've got a guy just scratching his neck as you would, you've got pots, you've got food, you've got linen, you've got cushions and all that kind of stuff being sold by these people. You're going to be able to go into these towns, you're going to be able to talk to them and decide how you want to do things. We've also got some fruits on the trees, flowers on the trees, which is very nice as well. The way that they have just modelled the variety of everything, this seems like a very Italian sort of place, a very tranquil, beautiful place where people just peacefully live, a very small village that you'll be able to visit, which also shows the variety between these massive cities and these small villages. And the next one does show some massive city stuff again. This shows like some sort of castle or temple that you'll be able to go to. Maybe this is where the Lord stays. You've got a statue there, you've got the flaming torches, you've got some very nice stone masonry, and of course the heavily armoured guards on their guard duty. You also have some sort of tapestry on the wall there, and it really just shows the amount of detail that has actually been put into this. Now the next screenshot, of course, is very similar to some of the ones we've actually seen before, but it does show walking through the town, being able to interact with people, having I can't really get over the amount of detail that's just been put into this game, especially the scenery. So I'll leave you guys to pause the video here if you want to look at this one, because this actually has a lot of detail on it. Even though it doesn't show a ton of landscape, it just has a lot of detail on all the tiny bits. So I definitely recommend pausing this and having a look over it yourself. And the final screenshot we have here is one of some sort of outside the castle market. We've got watermelons, and once again we've got cabbages, some sort of other fruits over there. We've also got some boots and furs on sale to the right hand side, and some sacks there. It looks like the AI is not only selling stuff, but they're buying stuff as well. So you're going to have this bustling city life that you'll be able to come and you'll be able to join in with and interact with all the AI. Of course, there is a path that leads up to the castle, which will be siegeable, and it'll be very interesting to see how they implement the castle and the villages outside in sieges. Will you have to go through the village as well? Maybe go through slaughtering peasants or something like that, or will it just be straight up attacking the castle, a bit like in Warband? But other than that, guys, that is all the screenshots we've actually got so far, and not gonna lie, that is a number of screenshots that are actually very interesting, and they show us quite a bit about the up-and-coming Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. What are your thoughts on these screenshots? I really hope we can see some more things, maybe even some gameplay very soon. But other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like if you did, you know what to do if you didn't. But subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more content on Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord and other games of the like. I have actually put up a subreddit, there'll be a link to that in all my descriptions from now on. You can go post stuff there, get information to me. Thank you once again, Toast Power, for sending this information to me again. But until then, guys, I will see you in the next one.